Today, we will analyze a critical event that occurred in West Africa and affected international security dynamics. This large-scale terrorist attack targeting President Ibrahim Traoré's special forces at the Essakane gold mine in northern Burkina Faso has been recorded as a development threatening regional stability. What happened in this coordinated attack involving approximately 500 terrorists? How did Burkina Faso's military forces respond, and what radical changes did Ibrahim Traoré implement in his country's national security policy after this conflict? What are the funding sources and connections of terrorist organizations in the region? We will address all these questions together with analyses from international security experts and testimonies from eyewitnesses. On March the 23rd, 2023, the Essakane mine, located in the Sahel region of Burkina Faso and home to one of the country's largest gold reserves, witnessed the largest terrorist attack in its history. The incident was a coordinated ambush against a 12-person special unit of the Burkina Faso Armed Forces responsible for protecting the mine. According to intelligence reports, the terrorist group conducting the attack was a coalition formed by Jamaat Nusrat al-Islam wal-Muslim (JNIM) and Islamic State in the Greater Sahara Faraski organizations operating in the region. According to the official statement from the Burkina Faso Ministry of Defense, the attack began at 4:30 just before dawn. This timing was deliberately chosen by the terrorists to gain tactical advantage. Approximately 500 armed terrorists participated in the attack, which was carried out simultaneously from multiple directions. Colonel Francois Cao, responsible for the security of the Essakane gold mine, describes the beginning of the event in thus words. The first indications came with the detection of a large convoy approaching the security perimeter around the mine. Our reconnaissance drones detected numerous pickup vehicles approaching from different points. In our initial assessment, we noticed that these were too professional and well organized for a normal terrorist group. We immediately went on alert, but the magnitude of the attack was far beyond our expectations. The tactics used by the terrorists differed from ordinary raid attacks. GNM and ISGS militants advanced from three main directions, targeting weak points in the mine's defense system. The first group opened heavy fire on the control point at the northern entrance of the mining complex, drawing the attention of Burkina Faso security forces to this point. Simultaneously, a second group attempted to infiltrate the complex from the southeast direction. The third and largest group launched a main attack from the western front. General Marcel Edrago, commander of Burkina Faso Special Forces, made the following assessment regarding the organization of the attack. This attack was a much more sophisticated operation than the tactics we had seen in the region before. The terrorists had detailed intelligence about our defense systems. Their use of electronic jamming devices to block our military communication systems showed that this was a comprehensive military operation beyond a standard terrorist attack. In the first phase of the attack, terrorists targeted the mine's security towers with heavy machine guns and rocket launchers. Within the first half hour, the mine's outer security perimeter was breached and conflicts moved into the mining complex. At this point, Burkina Faso forces tactically retreated to strengthen their defensive positions as the conflict intensified. Ensuring the safety of civilian personnel working in the mine became a critical priority. Approximately 230 miners and administrative personnel were transferred to underground shelters in the mine. Some of the Burkina Faso soldiers were assigned to secure these shelters for the protection of civilians. Lieutenant Colonel Issou Kabor, commander of the special unit, responsible for the mine's security, describes the most intense moments of the conflict as follows. The terrorists had numerical superiority, but our soldiers had an advantage in terms of training and discipline. The first hour of the attack was extremely critical. Terrorists were trying to infiltrate the mine from different points. Our soldiers prevented the terrorists' advance by coordinated fire from well-positioned defense points. However, the number of attackers was increasing with continuous reinforcements. About an hour after the attack began, helicopters from the Burkina Faso Air Force arrived in the area. 2 Mi-24 attack helicopters and 1 Mi-8 transport helicopter conducted airstrikes on terrorist positions, coordinating with ground support. Troops. This intervention was a critical factor that changed the course of the conflict. With the arrival of air support, the terrorists' advance was halted and they began to retreat. However, the fighting lasted a full 7 hours and ended completely as the sun was setting. According to the statement from the Burkina Faso General Staff, as a result of the operation, 73 terrorists were neutralized and 42 terrorists were captured wounded. From the Burkina Faso security forces, 21 soldiers were martyred and 34 soldiers were wounded. Examinations conducted after the attack revealed the unusual nature of the weapons and equipment used by the terrorists. Among the seized materials were latest model automatic weapons, night vision devices, tactical radios, and highly advanced explosives. This situation indicated that terrorist organizations were receiving serious logistical support from external sources. Jean-Claude Kassongo, director of the Burkina Faso Intelligence Service, made the following statement about the seized materials. Our investigations show that the weapons used were smuggled from Libya. Also, we have obtained strong evidence that some tactical equipment used by the terrorists was sourced from conflict zones in the Middle East. This situation demonstrates how extensive the international connections of terrorist organizations in our region have become. Interrogation of terrorists captured after the attack revealed that the operation had been planned for a long time. According to information obtained from informants, terrorists had established special training camps in the forested areas of the region for 2 months before the attack. It was also understood that they had detailed plans of the mining complex and documents containing security protocols. The motivation and timing of this attack were directly related to political developments. In Burkina Faso, after Ibrahim Traoré came to power through a coup, a new national policy was adopted regarding the control of the country's natural resources. Traoré had taken steps to ensure that a larger portion of gold mine revenues remained within the country, and that these resources were used for national development. Dr. Aminata Diallo, director of the Burkina Faso Political Analysis Center, evaluates the background of the attack as follows. This attack is not just a terrorist act, but also an attempt at economic sabotage. Ibrahim Traoré's policy of consolidating control over national resources has disturbed various international interest groups. The targeting of the gold mine by terrorist groups can be seen as a reflection of this discomfort. The gold mine is one of the country's most strategic economic assets, and an attack on it directly targets the country's economic stability. Following the attack, Ibrahim Traoré made radical decisions regarding national security. In his address to the nation on March 25, 2023, he made the following statements. Protecting our country's natural resources and the security of our citizens is the most fundamental priority of our government. We will take all necessary measures to dry up the financing sources of terrorist organizations and strengthen our country's sovereignty. From today, the security of all our strategic natural resource fields will be increased and protected by special military units. Following this speech on March 28, 2023, the Burkina Faso government launched a comprehensive security program called Protection of National Strategic Resources. Under the program, security levels were raised to the highest level in all gold mines and areas with strategic resources in the country. Additionally, a new 5,000-person resource protection unit was established, and military advisors were invited from Russia. Security measures were increased along the eastern and northern borders of the country. New surveillance stations were established to secure the border, and the fleet of unmanned aerial vehicles, UAVs, was expanded. Additionally, regional development programs were initiated to prevent local people from joining terrorist organizations. Perhaps one of the most important consequences of the Essakane gold mine attack was the changes Burkina Faso made in its international alliances. Ibrahim Traoré reviewed his cooperation with Western security partners and signed new defense agreements with alternative powers such as Russia and China. Olivier Roa, Minister of Foreign Affairs of Burkina Faso, explained this strategic change as follows. We are evaluating our existing partnerships and seeking new cooperation opportunities to ensure our national security. We are ready to work with all international partners who are prepared to cooperate with us unconditionally. However, we will never compromise on our sovereignty and national interest. In this context, a defense cooperation agreement was signed with Russia on April 15, 2023. The agreement included Russian military experts providing training to the Burkina Faso army and the supply of advanced weapon systems. It was also decided that Russia would provide technical support to enhance the intelligence capacity of Burkina Faso security forces. Regional cooperation against terrorism was also strengthened following the Essakane attack. A new security cooperation platform called the Sahel Security Alliance was established between Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger. The alliance envisaged the three countries conducting joint border operations, increasing intelligence sharing, and carrying out coordinated fight against terrorist organizations. Assimi Goïta, President of Mali, said the following in his statement during the founding ceremony of the alliance. Our fight against terrorism in the Sahel region is a common struggle. No country can deal with this threat alone. The alliance we established today is a historic step toward ensuring the security and stability of our region. Cutting off the financing. Sources of terrorist organizations was identified as one of the alliance's priority objectives. In this context, special units were established to combat gold smuggling and illegal mining activities. In addition, joint patrol systems were established to prevent cross-border movements of terrorist groups. Comprehensive intelligence and counter-terrorism. Operations were carried out in the Essakane region following the attack. Intensive efforts were made, especially to reveal the connections of the terrorists involved in the attack and to prevent future threats. During this process, terrorist cells hiding in villages in the region were identified and neutralized. Professor Pascal Zagre, director of the Burkina Faso Intelligence Academy, made the following assessment about the importance of these operations. The biggest advantage of terrorist groups is their ability to hide within local communities. Counterintelligence. Operations conducted after the Essakane attack revealed the depth and complexity of terrorist networks. Additionally, these operations provided critical information about the financing mechanisms and logistical support channels of terrorist organizations. As a result of investigations in the region, the pressure and coercion mechanisms established by terrorist organizations on the local population were also documented. New social and economic programs were implemented especially to prevent young people from joining terrorist groups. Vocational training centers were established and local entrepreneurship was supported with microcredit projects. In addition to the social measures, An awareness campaign against radical religious discourses was launched in cooperation with religious leaders and community leaders in the region. The Burkina Faso Islamic Council issued a statement condemning terrorist acts and emphasizing the messages of peace and tolerance of the Islamic religion. All these security, social and religious measures began to create an environment of stability in the Essakane region. 6 months after the attack, the production capacity at the mine reached full level and civilians began to return to the region. However, the security threat was not completely eliminated, and Burkina Faso security forces maintained a high state of alert. In October 2023, the annual production capacity of the Essakane gold mine was increased by 15%, and the mine was put into a modernization program. Under this program, the security infrastructure of the mine was completely renewed. Advanced technology surveillance systems, thermal cameras, and perimeter sensors were installed. Additionally, entry-exit points to the mine were reduced to increase controllability. Ibrahim Traoré, spokesperson for the Burkina Faso Ministry of Mining, provided the following information about these modernization efforts. Essakane gold mine is now seen not only as an economic facility, but also as a strategic national asset. Therefore, our investments in the security and efficiency of the mine will continue to increase. Our goal is to ensure that the revenues obtained from the mine provide maximum benefit for the development of our country. Construction of a new refinery near Ouagadougou began for processing the gold produced by the Essakane gold mine. This facility aimed to increase Burkina Faso's gold processing capacity, raising the added value the country obtains from the mining sector. Additionally, an industrial zone was planned around the refinery, aiming to develop subsidiary industry branches. The security policies implemented by Ibrahim Traoré following the Essakane attack also resonated internationally. Leonardo Santos Simo, United Nations Special Representative for West Africa, included the following statements in a report evaluating Burkina Faso's counter-terrorism strategy. The comprehensive security strategy implemented by Burkina Faso after the gold mine attack displays a holistic approach that includes military, economic, and social dimensions. This strategy demonstrates that terrorist organizations can be neutralized not only through military methods, but also by drying up their funding sources and reducing their social support. 6 months after the Essakane gold mine attack, a significant improvement was observed in Burkina Faso's security situation. The number of terrorist attacks decreased by 30%, and relative stability was achieved in the northern regions of the country. The radical changes in Ibrahim Traoré's security policies and new approaches in international alliances had a significant impact on this success. According to the September 2023 report of the Burkina Faso Ministry of Defense, 213 terrorist camps were destroyed and more than 1,150 militants were neutralized in the last 6 months. It was also emphasized that the support of the local population for the security forces had increased, and civilians made significant contributions to gathering intelligence. During this period, the Essakane gold mine continued to operate at full capacity. Thanks to the special measures taken for the security of the mine, production continued without interruption. More importantly, the revenues of the mine were used to finance the country's infrastructure projects and social services. In line with Traoré's policies, this experience also significantly affected Burkina Faso's national defense doctrine. The country transitioned from conventional defense strategies to a more flexible and multidimensional security understanding against asymmetric threats. The number and capacity of special forces were increased, local defense militias were strengthened, and civil defense strategies were developed. General David Cabra, commander of the Burkina Faso Armed Forces, explained this transformation as follows. The Essakane attack fundamentally changed our security understanding. We are now prepared not only for conventional threats, but also for asymmetric terrorist threats. Our army has been strengthened with special units specializing in counter-terrorism. At the same time, we have improved our ability to detect and prevent threats at their source by increasing our intelligence capacity. As of January 2024, Burkina Faso's counter-terrorism capacity has been significantly strengthened. The Essakane attack served as a catalyst for the country to modernize its security and defense systems beyond being a crisis. In conclusion, the large-scale terrorist attack on the Essakane gold mine on March 23, 2023, became a turning point in Burkina Faso's security policies and international relations. Ibrahim Traoré's resolute response to this crisis strengthened the country's counter-terrorism capacity and promoted regional cooperation. This event shed light on the complexity of security dynamics in the Sahel region and the struggle for control of natural resources. The increasing operational capacity and international connections of terrorist groups demonstrated the scale of threats facing countries in the region. However, Burkina Faso's response to this attack also demonstrated how the terrorist threat can be managed with determined leadership and a strategic approach. Ibrahim Traoré's vision regarding the control and security of national resources can be considered a promising development for the country's future. In this video, we examine the details and results of the Essakane gold mine attack. Remember to follow our channel and share our videos for more analysis on Africa's security issues and natural resource management. In our next analysis, we will examine in depth the funding sources and international connections of terrorist organizations in the Sahel region.